back to my channel, or to my channel if you are new here. My name is Haley. I talk about books, I read books, and I love books. I do. With that being said, this is no different. We're going to be talking about books here today, and very specifically we're going to be going through my Goodreads, and what I'm going to be doing is telling you guys the books that I think are 5 stars from this year. Granted, I still have like 2-3 weeks left of this year. There's still an opportunity and a chance to get more 5 stars, but do I think I'm actually going to reach that? Highly unlikely. For those that don't know, which is literally everybody watching this, because obviously, I spent this last year of my reading journey not reading books. I have been really trying to step away from the mentality of reading a lot of books and obsessing over ratings and stuff like that, and really changing how I'm reading. And part of that was changing the fact that I rate books. So I found a lot of times before when I would rate a book, it would not live up to that rating because I would overhype it or underhype it when I would finish it. And so I'd go back and I'd look at this book like at the end of the year and I'd be like, that's a lie, that's not a 5 star. So I just stopped rating books, and instead I just marked them as read on Goodreads and go about my day. And I personally have really enjoyed that. I think that it's getting me closer to my goal of how I want to be reading, which honestly is just like how I read as a kid, where I read a book and if I liked it, I liked it, and if I didn't, I didn't, and that was that. And I either never thought about it again or I still think about it to this day. And I personally think that that's a healthy way to read. So with that being said, we are going to go through the books that I've read this year, and we're going to talk about them. Very specifically talk about the ones that I think are 5-star reads for me, which honestly I don't think are going to be that many because this year has not been great for my reading. So I'm going to go into my 2024 reading challenge and do it this way. And we're going to go, should we go all the way to the bottom and start from there? I think that that's the best way to go. So I'm very picky about my 5 stars. I think that there's good books and then there's books that just speak to my soul, and those are the ones that I actually give 5 stars. It seems very questionable to me, and honestly that's why I stopped rating them, because the authors don't deserve that. Let's get started. The Future is a no. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute is a no. The Right Swipe and both romantic comedy, those are absolutely no's. Emergency Contact is a no. I really did like A Guest in the House, but is that a 5 star? Is it? It could potentially be a 5 star. I feel like we need 2 categories. We need maybes and then we need absolutely's. So that's a maybe. That's going over here. And then we have Daisy Jones and the Six. This is an absolutely. I love this book. I think the audiobook is fantastic, and I will say though, it feels like I may have overhyped it a little bit in my head because of the audiobook. So I feel like I need to go back and reread it as a, like without the audiobook, as a physical read, and see if I still enjoyed it as much, you know? Okay, next. None of those, none of those, none of those. The Quiet Tenant. I really love this book. I think that that might be a 5 star. I'm gonna turn my brightness down a little bit. The Quiet Tenant is about, we're following 3 different points of view. We're following a daughter, a dad, and the woman that the dad is holding captive. And it's obviously like a commentary on the fact that a person can be multiple things, I think. And really, like, it's about, actually no, we're also following another woman as well. So we're following 4 different people in this book, and all of them have so much value and add so much value to this book, because you get to see this man through different perspectives, and I think that that's just really influential to the book. I think that I just really enjoyed it, and I absolutely love it. I think about it quite a bit, and I stand with that being an absolutely. The next 5-star, I think I would give the Anthropocene Reviewed a 5-star as well, because I did really enjoy it, and I love the idea of having these random fun facts. It really spoke to my soul and just like the way that we're just talking about random stuff in this book, and I absolutely loved it. I'm such like the type of person that loves like random fun facts. Like if you have a random fun fact, I want to hear it. I want to, like, if you have one right now, I need to hear it. And that's what the Anthropocene Reviewed was to me. Was just John Green telling me a bunch of random fun facts and me absolutely eating it up. So that's also a 5-star. And then ooh, none of these are doing it. I did really enjoy Lone Women, but I don't know if I would give that a 5-star. Same with Night Film. Like those are more like 4 stars. You know, they're there, but they're not great. Same with Vampires of El Norte, which I passed up down here. But that's also like a book that I understand the hype. I understand why people love it. They just weren't for me as far as like emotional depth, if that makes sense. And what else? See, none of these are doing it. Like all of these, there's so many books on here that I'm like, oh, these are really good books. Like I'd give them like a 4-star, but they're not 5 stars. And that's unfortunate. Like Flies from Afar, fuck that book. I don't love it at all. I think I would give The Unmaking of June Farrow maybe a 5-star. It's like a maybe. Maybe it's like a 4.5 if I was rating it. I really did enjoy this book. We're following this woman named June. She's time traveling. There's this element of fantasy and magic in this book, but it's not so much so that it's like overwhelming amounts of fantasy. It's just like this woman who's, I guess she's not time traveling, she's more like going into an alternate universe, and she has to choose whether she wants to stay or not. And it's a really fascinating book, and I absolutely loved it. It kind of gives the same vibes of what is that book by what is that book called? Hold on. I did not like this book at all, but The Giver of Stars. It took me so long to finish this book, but it gives the same vibe as that if you added a fantasy element to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would give that about a 5-star, 4-star, somewhere along that line for sure. The next book, The House in the Cerulean Sea, absolutely loved it. 5 stars. I waited so long to read this book, and that's on me. That's my fault, because this book was a 5-star. I ate it up. I loved it. I love the characters. I love the originality of each character and what they bring to the story. And this is what I wish Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children actually was, because this was it. And I need to read the second one. See, like Daphne, I would give that, and Ace of Spades like a 4-star. I think both of those are really great, but they're not 5 stars for me. Truly Devious, when I read it, I would have given it 5 stars, but I don't know if I would now. Like, I feel like I'm happy with giving it about a 4-star. I do want to continue in the series, but I don't know if I would say that it's a 5-star. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. One of these, Listen for the Lie was stupid. I don't care what anybody says. That book was not good. Opinions, I think I would give Opinions maybe 5 stars or close to it. That's a maybe 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think that it's just like, it's a good read. It's a solid nonfiction, and it's the type of nonfiction that I think I really enjoy. And I just don't know though that I would give it 5 stars, but I did really enjoy it. But I have no reason for not giving it 5 stars. So I don't know. It's a lot. A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I feel like a lot of people would probably care about my opinion on that. Nobody cares about my opinion on it, but if you like A Court of Thorns and Roses, you want everybody to like that book. I ate it up, but it was not a 5 star. I completely see why people don't like it, and I completely see how I could have not liked it. But for some reason, I did like it, and that's that. But it's not a 5 star. It's definitely not that. Incidents Around the House, I think at the time of reading it, I would have given it a 5 star. Now, not so much. Night, is this a 5 star? Because I did really enjoy it, and I think that it's really impactful, and I think that it's really important, and so much of me wants to give it a 5 star. The amount of times that I was in tears and in shock and awe at this book this is a 5 star. It's a 5 star. I'm just putting that out there. Sandwich for the Summer, ate that up. Completely different vibes than Night. But I loved it. I think that it is a solid romance. I think that it's one of the better romances that I've read that is like hyped up. So I loved it. And yeah, it's a great romance. Another book that is probably, I'd say, a 4.5 is Womb City. I think this was a great, well-rounded sci-fi, and I absolutely loved it, and think that it has so much, what's the word? Purpose in the book sphere. I think among books, this stands out. And if you haven't read Womb City and you like sci-fi and you like especially like feminist literature, but also just the way that it's such a commentary on women and their rights, and it's also just incredibly well-rounded, well-written. I really enjoyed it, and I think that you should read it if you haven't. I definitely would recommend it. I think that this is also a book that you could recommend to a wide variety of people, and they will all kind of walk away from it with something. None of these. Nope. See, y'all, this is a problem, because I can scroll and none of these books, they didn't do it. They didn't hit 5 stars at all. Shrill, I'd give about a 4 star. Heartstopper, I enjoyed, but is it 5 star worthy? Like, I get why people love it, and I did love it, but I also don't know, like, emotionally how much I loved it. But it's like a 4.5. I did really enjoy it, and I absolutely understand the hype. None of these. See, so a lot of these books, we finally got one. We got one. Actually, we have 2. Do we have 2? Yeah. So, the first one, A Grim Reaper's Guide to Catching a Killer, ate this up. I absolutely loved it. I think that it's just such a good book. We're following our main character, who is a Grim Reaper. Oh, my phone. She's okay. She's thriving. We follow our main character, who is a Grim Reaper, and she goes to collect the soul of someone who has passed away, and their soul is stolen, or their body. I can't remember correctly, but I ate this up. She ends up teaming up with the ghost of the person's body that was stolen, and it's just like a fun book. I absolutely loved this, and I think this is like, see, this is the thing, because emotionally I don't think that it was like perfect in that regard, and I didn't connect with it that way, but I also just had a really fun time, and that's why it's a 5-star. And now I don't know why I rate things 5 stars when I'm really thinking about it, because it's not fully connecting. So it is what it is. The next book, We Used to Live Here, though, also didn't connect with me emotionally, but boy was this a whirlwind. There's so much that's left unsaid at the end of this novel, so if you don't like books like that, do not pick this up. But if you do, pick it up, because I think that this is just so good. This is also a debut, which is crazy bonkers, but it was so good, and it's just great. It's a great, well-rounded horror mystery, and I definitely enjoyed that one. Another book, I'm not giving this a 5-star. I can't give Daydream a 5-star because I was not a fan of the writing completely throughout this, and the way that the story beats are kind of laid out, I was not a fan of, but it did speak to me a lot in the way that our main character lives and thinks, and yeah, basically she's me and I think that I connected to her a lot, but I don't think this is a 5-star because I didn't really love the writing, and that kind of sucks. We are getting to the end, but I do actually have one more 5-star. Just one more. And that's The Friend. I ate this book up. I think that it is such a just great book. It has a lot of commentary on grief, and there's a lot of talk about writing and creating and animals, and there's also, I love how the author really sprinkled in just quotes, and the way that she tells stories is really fascinating to me. I love how this writing style is the very much like stream of conscious. We're just talking, chatting. I feel like I'm reading a letter, and it is written in kind of a letter format to a friend of hers that has passed, and she inherits his dog, and she talks about his dog, and she talks about writing and his life and their relationship and grieving him and telling stories and writing, and it's so, I just love it, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Those are my 5 stars for this year. I don't know how many that was, but not nearly enough considering that I've read over 170 books at this point, and I'm on track to read about 180 or so by the end of the year. And that being that small, minuscule amount of 5 stars is baffling. Granted, I don't give 5 stars out much, but I feel like I should have more than that. Does that make sense? I hope so. With that said, thank you for hanging out with me, chatting. Well, you didn't chat, but I chatted, and yeah, it was a good time. I'll catch you on the flip side, because yeah. Oh, and if you made it this far, I feel like leave me a fun fact down below. Or if you don't want to do that, I'll take an emoji. Let's do the Christmas tree, because it's Christmas, and I also have a Christmas tree that I was just looking at, and why not? Thank y'all.